What's going on in the shop today?
Well, picking up trash left over from the international project. If you want to come over here and this is the tractor that we bought a week ago, and naturally with, let me get you out of the glare a little bit, maybe. And naturally, when you buy a used tractor, especially one that's 65 years old, it never quite turns out as good as you want it to. One thing that I didn't notice when I drove it the day we bought it, that the engine smokes on startup, which I believe is something to do with the valve guides, valve seals, something in there, because it doesn't continually smoke. Once you put the throttle to it, it seems to run out pretty clear. So, but probably the biggest disappointment, and I guess it should be expected with a tractor like that, is we've got some seals in the transmission, and the rear axle seals are leaking some, and I've got I'm a little bit unsure of what I've got here, because I don't work on a lot of internationals, but I've got a parts book coming, and but there's a front seal in this transmission that is not allowing me to fill the transmission up to capacity. I can get about 5.5 gallon in there, and it starts pushing it out the front. So just normal stuff that you have when you buy a used tractor. As far as overall condition, I'm not disappointed in the tractor. Tires are good. We've done the carburetor. We've changed all of the fluids, opened up the hydraulic reservoir, totally cleaned out. I've resealed all the remotes, and power steering's been flushed. Changed a couple tie rod ends, bought a new seat, but we still have a little bit of work to go. But I think it's going to be a good machine. I did try it out yesterday out here in front. Just kind of wanted to test the hydraulics. I picked the front end of the salvage 430 out there. I picked it up with the 3-point, and it worked flawlessly. So I think the pump is strong and everything. But I think it'll make my son a good mowing tractor. And I know red's not my usual color, but we had one of these when I was growing up, and it was really quite a good little tractor. So I'm glad to get it. So anyway, just kind of cleaning up some mess from that. As you can see, the shop is full. I need to put an ignition switch and wire this little John Deere 100 mower over here. It's not going to take too long to do. A friend of mine purchased this just for his grandson to ride around on at the shows, and I have had it running, but it had the wrong ignition switch. This is a magneto ignition, so it needed an ignition switch that would ground, and it had a battery ignition type switch in it. So we've got to do that. That's really not going to take very long. This is also his tractor, this LA. This engine is locked up. So probably this is there's no time frame on this particular tractor, but I really think that we're going to swap and put an LUC engine in it, and then I think there's some differential work that needs to be done to it. But this is a back burner tractor. We just got it inside to keep it inside, and so that's where we're at. Of course, this is my 430. This is my using tractor, and it's been needing to be split for a couple of years anyway. It's got an input shaft seal or something to the effect that's linking transmission fluid out of the torque tube. So doing that, and of course you know about the AR. It's a slow but steady, but I get pulled off to do some other jobs. So I've got a little bit of governor work to do to that, and shaft bushing, a few things. So anyway, and as you can see right here, have something that's really unusual for this part of the world. I've got a 2020 low profile Orchard in the shop. So far what we've done to this, had a fuel leak in the front. It was leaking diesel out of the fuel level sending unit. Got that fixed, and we realized we had a bad spot in the actual line. So we got a new line from John Deere. I got it put on yesterday, and we thought we were going to have to pull the injectors in it, but I talked to the man at the diesel shop, and he suggested that I just try to advance the timing just a little bit to see if that cleared it up, and it made a world of difference in it. Didn't advance the pump much, but it did seem to help it. It was just kind of slobbering all over itself. And the other thing that really helped it is we changed the fuel filter. We did that before we advanced the timing on it. But I think for what he's going to do with this tractor, of course you can see it's not finished. It's got a lot of reproduction sheet metal on it, and there's several things that the tractor does need. The main thing that it was brought in here for was it was leaking oil out of the brake master cylinder down underneath the platform. So we've gotten that rebuilt. I don't have it. I don't have any fluid in it yet. I haven't bled the brakes yet, but we're getting close to putting the hood and stuff back on this and sending it out the door.
What were those used for? Those type of tractors?
Well, these tractors were used for mostly in citrus groves, pecan groves, anywhere that you had low hanging tree branches. These shields here, of course you had the hood here, and then you had side guards here all along here, but these shields here were just kind of to direct the tree branches and everything out past the tractor, not let them catch and be broke off. This platform, the seat and everything is set considerably lower as you I get Susie back here to show you. You can see the steering wheel here, and this tractor actually has a hand clutch, which is unusual for a new generation style tractor, but was totally required in the low profile series of these tractors. I'll show you a piece here on this tractor of how John Deere used a lot of the standard tractor parts here. If you'll look right here, here is the steering column casting of what would have been on the normal utility 2020 tractor. And if you look in here, the double stick shifters are still in here. They have just manufactured a rod to go back to the platform, and so you can shift from back there. But this would have been the original steering wheel location, and you can see how far back it is. That steering is totally hydraulic. There's no mechanical connection. That basically is a steering motor running off the pump, and then you come down here to a hydraulic cylinder. So there's no direct linkage there other than hydraulic power there. But they used a lot of standard castings, mainly just to hold this dash casting up here. But yeah, a very unusual tractor for this part of the country. So just doing some odds and ends here. This is a work in progress for the owner, so we're just trying to get done what he would like to have done, you know, kind of follow along on his budget and everything. Other thing that I've got going on today, I've got some work to do here. We've bought a new set of wheel bearing nuts for the Jeep. I've had some trouble. I found that one of the locking wheel bearing nut on the front hubs, the threads were almost gone, and I did not find an exact replacement. So what, as you can see, this was it. And as you can see, the threads are just almost gone right here in there. Yeah, you can see them, but as you can see right there, it's really about gone. But these nuts were part of the Warn. That's a brand name. It's WARN right here. It has that brand of manual hubs on it. But I couldn't come up with these nuts, at least I haven't yet, that have these O-rings. These O-rings actually sealed between the grease in the locking hub and the grease in the wheel bearing. So I came up with just a set of, and these are actually Warn products themselves. But so you have the inner one, and once you get your tension set on your wheel bearings, then you add the lock ring, which is keyed into the spindle right here, and that goes on the pin like so. And then this would be your locking nut that would bump up. And the problem I'm having with this now is this assembly is too thick for me to install the locking hub and then be able to put the snap ring in the end of the axle. So I have measured the stack up here, and I actually have a set of these installed on this hub over here. So I'm going to make an arbor and put these in the lathe, and I'm going to trim these down about 1/16 of an inch, which 1/16 of an inch is like 62.5 thousandths. I mean, it's not going to affect the strength of these at all. But if I take that much off of these, then I'll be able to get the locking hub on there and get the snap ring reinstalled in the axle. And I know there was probably a reason for that O-ring to be there to separate that, but the grease that is actually in the locking hub and in the wheel bearings is going to be the same, so I don't think there's going to be an issue with commingling that. So that's kind of where we're at. We've got all the brake shoes. I've got one full set of brake shoes on it. And I've got the wheel cylinder. It's getting all new wheel cylinders, brake hoses, and we're going to flush the lines so the brake system will be totally ready to go. And I've just got to get past this wheel bearing situation here. And then yesterday, there's always something new. Always something new that shows up. Well, I was hit up by another friend of mine. He said I was supposed to get a kit in this carburetor, and it's been sitting on my shelf. He said, do you want to do that? And I said, sure. So right now, we've got all of the internals out of this John Deere duplex carburetor. I'm not really sure what, maybe 520, 530, 620, 630. I'm not sure. It's kind of a smaller bore, so I'm thinking maybe 520, 530 maybe on that. But I've got these in the soak, just the internals, the jets, the plugs, everything out. I've got all the freeze plugs out of it, and so we'll attempt to, this is as big a can of carburetor cleaner that I've got, so we're going to try to slip that in and get it cleaned out, and we'll get that carburetor back together for him here pretty quick. So other than that, that's about it. It's hot. Here it is. It's before 10 o'clock and it's 90 degrees already. Yesterday was 107 here. I finally quit in the shop about 3:30 and went in the house, and so I'm going to try to get some stuff done before the heat drives me out, and so that's what's going on today. Okay, what we're doing today, right at this moment, I've just got a piece of mystery metal in the lathe here, and what I'm going to do, I talked about this a little bit the other day. I bought these new wheel bearing nuts, but they're a little bit too thick and I need to thin them down. So in order to do that, I need to make an arbor to hold these nuts on here. So I've got a piece of metal, and it's just a 10-15 thousandths under an inch and 5/8, and that's what these are, inch and 5/8 and 16. So I thought I'd show you how I turn some threads on the lathe. So we've already indicated the piece of metal in within reason. There's a little bit of a wear spot that's moving at a couple thousandths here, but for an arbor it's going to be just fine. So what we've got to do first is we'll start the lathe, and I'm turning it pretty slow just to get set up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to touch off and set my zeros. There, we're just touched. So I'm going to set my zero here. I'm also going to set my zero here, as I'll be feeding in with the compound. So okay. So we're going to do a scratch pass here right off the bat, and so I'm going to move in about 5 thousandths, and we're just going to start. Oh, wrong lever. All right, it's been a while. Okay, let's try that one. Okay, so we're going to shut that off. I'm going to move back to my zero. take the thread gauge and we're going to check this pitch. Make sure we're doing 16 threads, and we are. So that's good. Okay, so now we're going to come back in. There we go. We'll start back up again. We'll put a little bit of cut the roll on. And we'll engage the half nut. We can get anything there. Okay, so we've done our scratch pass. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to move in about 5 thousandths with the compound, and we're going to go right there. Okay. Move up another 5 thousandths here. Stop right there for just a second. Yeah, we're starting, but we're not quite there yet. So, all right. Pull on that. Set back to 0 here. Turn up another 5. Just a minute for my number to come around. gonna do now is we're just gonna do a spring pass on that. We're not gonna move it in any further. Let's see where we're at there. I believe that'll work for what we want to do. So. Okay. So. What we'll probably do when we get ready to thin those nuts out is we'll put this nut on back behind as a jam nut. And we'll just screw this one right up against it. I'm only taking the 1/16 of an inch off of these nuts, so that should work. So we'll get that done and move on from there. Thanks for watching.